Hey guys, it's Brett from AMain Hobbies, and this is a Tekno NB48 2.1 1/8 scale Nitro Buggy kit that we've put together, and we want to show you it. So basically, this kit was actually built by one of our marketing guys, Kyle, and it was his first time ever building an RC kit. Building an RC kit is pretty intimidating, and starting with an 8 scale is pretty extreme, but it's doable, and he proved it. Now with this build, Kyle did experience a few little hiccups in his journey, one of them being the shock collars with the O-rings inside the shock collars here. When you thread them onto the shock bodies, they're pretty dang tight. And we experienced the same thing with the electric buggy version. Now there's guys on YouTube who told us they're actually cutting the O-rings a little bit and trimming them up, or using half the O-ring in the collar. It also helps to just lubricate that O-ring inside the collar and make sure it's really seated in that collar ring well when you install it. Another thing noted is that Kyle said threading in the rods for the brake linkage onto the servo horn pieces was pretty dang tight, and having some pretty good pliers that'll grip that threaded rod well is recommended. Now Kyle found out that having a turnbuckle wrench for your vehicle, as well as some shock shaft pliers of some kind, is really beneficial when building the kit. There's also extra shims included with the vehicle. There's some diff shims, and then there's some clutch bell shims included. The kit gives you extra shims in case you may need them. The manual shows there being 2 shims in the clutch bell area, for instance, but they give you 4. So if you didn't know, they're just extra shims that you may need to space out the clutch and engine that you choose, because sometimes they can vary, and those extras may or may not be helpful for you when you install that clutch bell. Other than that, he didn't really have many other issues. The build went together really easily. There's no binding. There were no missing parts. It's just something that you kind of slowly chug through, and he got it done. Now for the setup in this car, we just put the box stock setup that you can follow in the manual, or you can go all the way to the back of the manual where they have the entire setup sheet. But we're using the stock fluids in this vehicle, and the shocks, it's 650 CST in the front and 550 in the rear. For the diffs, they have 7,000 in the front and the center, and the rear's got 5,000. Something nice is that Tekno provides the parts and the instructions in the manual to build the emotion style or bladder style shocks, and Kyle has built them with the bladder style. For the equipment used, we're copying this car off of pro racer Ryan Mayfield, who has the same car and actually just won the Dirt Nitro Challenge earlier in the year with it. So we wanted to try to make like a replica almost. So for the servos, we're using 2 ProTech 170 SBL servos. For the engine, it's the ProTech Samurai RM. It's the Mayfield edition engine that Mayfield himself uses, and then paired with that is the 2090 pipe and manifold set. For the battery power, it's a ProTech 2600 milliamp hour receiver battery. We've also added a ProTech switch, which is an electronic switch, and we've secured it onto the side of the car where the transponder is designed to mount. You just have to trim off one of the ears of the switch. It's just a little plastic ear to get it mounted in this space. And then the transponder we're actually putting in the receiver box with a little bit of Velcro on the back of it, so you can just stick it inside of there and take it out easily and move it to other cars if you need to. Because we're using the electronic switch, we don't need the switch space that's designed into the radio tray area. So to cover up the exposed holes, I just put a piece of black electrical tape over it. The last thing we equipped on this car to get it track ready are going to be the GRP Cayman tires. These are pre-mounted on these white wheels, and they're the soft compound. For any upgrades or accessories, we did add a few things to it, but it's really just for the engine. We added the ProTech 4-shoe clutch, and we're using 2 carbon and 2 aluminum shoes. We're also using the light springs with the carbon shoes and the hard springs with the aluminum shoes. Now matching with that clutch is going to be the ProTech 4-shoe clutch bell. That's really needed for that clutch. And then lastly, we added the Tekno pre-oiled air filter, because the air filter included with the car is unoiled. It needs to be oiled, but there's no oil, so we just grabbed the pack of pre-oiled air filters. So pretty slick car. The finished product looks really nice, pretty clean inside. We just need to go get it on the track. We need to bind a transmitter, do some fine tuning on the linkage here after we've calibrated and set our endpoints, and it's ready for the track.